Kaimatara. You cannot be transphobic and be decolonial. Whakapapa holds all whānau, not just the ones who fit into Crown-approved rigid gendered categories.
And this is that plays into what I was saying. This is a new thing. Like it just there's never been that many trans people. You go back. There's people that dressed as men or that dressed as women. They just fucking carried on their life, and it seemed as a little bit of a novelty, but not something to be feared.
I don't know if I agree
indigenous
with you entirely.
Don't you?
Well, because the one difference is the trans community is not a new thing, but the understanding of the trans community is. Like if you look at Georgina Bayer, for example, I don't want to speak on behalf of her. I never met her. I never interviewed her. But the big difference with what's happening now and how the community presents itself now is a trans woman is a woman. I think that is a new vernacular. That is a new way of thinking of this. I mean, you're thinking about in the 1970s, they wouldn't have been called transgender. They would have been called trans, with another word on the end that starts with V, which I won't want to. And I don't think any of those people would have said, I am a woman. You know, so I think there's a different understanding. Yeah. So whilst this is new, I think there's already new understanding, and perhaps with that new understanding, it becomes more of a threat. Because of course, in the patriarchy, why would you want to be a woman? Because the patriarchy, you know, men are the bosses. Men run everything. So for a man then choosing to be a woman, that's incredibly challenging to the patriarchy. And now that there's this verbiage around what a trans woman is, or a trans man is a man. In the past, a trans wouldn't have said, I am a woman. You know, so there's a difference, and I wonder if that and like what's the worst thing for a patriarchal person or group to do, other than accept that man, quote unquote man, their words, wants to be a woman? Why would you want to be lesser? And that's how the patriarchy thinks about women. Yeah. And so there's a different. So it's more threatening as well. So that I'm not saying it makes it okay, but that could be where the new, revoltingness comes from.
No, that's an excellent point. I'm also talking about, and just off that last comment, that Indigenous cultures around the world often had words for these people that didn't fit in a rigid gender binary. You know, the one that I can think of off the top of my head is Native Americans had like the two-spirit people and that sort of thing. And
Whawhaini in Samoan culture.
Something similar as well. Just like, again, it's coming from this kind of Western chauvinist religious-y sort of feel, Western religion, sort of coming for these definitions of what a man and a woman is. And it has been what they look like, their jobs, how they're supposed to behave and act, nature versus nurture, or takatupui. Thank you. That was the word I was trying to grasp. All of these sort of things. And this is why I like what Suzanne is saying about intersectional feminism and that sort of thing. It's good for everyone. And so this is where this diversity is good for everyone. People don't have to be hammered into a box. They don't have to be hammered into, you must behave this way. You must look this way. You must present yourself this way. There's so many times that people rebel against the role that they're handed, the role that society expects them to fit in. To inject myself into this discussion, being a young kid in semi-rural Canterbury and liking drama made me a homosexual. And that was worthy of derision and abuse and bullying. And this is the whole thing. Maybe, the goth kids that like to dress up a little bit femme, oh, well, now you're a tranny, and bullying, and, we've got to hammer you into those boxes. What if we didn't have to do that? How much harm, how many lives would we save?
Yeah.
And what a freer society we would be in for the absolute negative from no one.
I also think there's that huge irony there that these dishonest actors who scream things like free speech and freedom of this and freedom of that from the rooftops are also the ones that want to categorize and oppress these groups they disagree with. I mean, like, I only because I actually have spoken to the lawyer who was a part of it. We have well lost the days of a Jewish lawyer representing Nazis in Skokie for their right to hold a Nazi rally in Skokie, USA. I mean, that is the clearest definition of someone being just pro-free speech and pro-freedom of people than someone who had relatives in concentration camps who then defended this group as a part of the ACLU in the 70s so they could hold a rally in a part of America because they had the right to free speech. That doesn't exist anymore, that world. Now it comes down to free speech means I can say what I want and you shut the fuck up. That's what it means in this day and age.